Hi everyone.
How's it going?
It's happy birthday.
Yeah.
I think it's the 10th episode of Web Analytics TV.
It's an anniversary.
Anniversary show, special anniversary edition show. We've actually got really great questions from all around the world. So thanks to everyone who filled out our moderator form where the questions in the votes. This particular episode had the most amount of you voting on our questions, which is something that we appreciate because these questions are rank ordered by you. Actually, we don't change that order, so it's all by you. So thank you very much. My name is Avinash.
And I'm Nick.
And we're going to help you answer some of your toughest questions connected to Web Analytics and Google Analytics.
Great.
So let's get going, Nick.
Let's get going. So the first question is from Martin in Czech Republic.
Wow, cool.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
Hello, Avinash and Nick. I have a site with registration form. It's one of goals, but I would like to measure unregistration form too. It's a negative goal. So in GA settings, I couldn't use negative numbers in my goal. Should I use e-commerce? Thanks.
Yes, this is a really good question. I think if we understand the question correctly, what's happening is that you perhaps have a way in which people can subscribe to your website, and perhaps they're unsubscribing later, and you want to perhaps add a negative value of some sort to the unsubscription. Say it's a membership website of some sort. And the interesting thing is, in this case, it's very difficult to figure out if the people who were members of your website for X amount of time did not add any value to you when they unsubscribed, and maybe the lifetime value is going down because they unsubscribed too fast rather than too slow, things like that. It's a very complicated thing. The recommendation that I would have is that you should have a goal created for your subscriptions. You should have a goal created for your unsubscriptions and track those together. And your goal report will tell you that. If you want to do one minus the other, of course, you can always extract data out of Google Analytics in many different ways. But at the moment, there isn't a way in Google Analytics that you can pass back negative goal values. So that's actually not possible. So you won't be able to do that. My hypothesis is also that it's not something that will be of value to you. And also, when you start to truly analyzing numbers, let's say you're looking at revenue from search campaigns or other kinds of campaigns, you'll never know how this positive negative number is playing out in terms of meeting your goals, and so you won't be able to make really good decisions with this data. So track those two things separately, track both of them as goals, and then go from there. When it comes to actually subtracting the values, I think it's probably better done outside the Web Analytics tool rather than inside, because it'll make your data into mush. If you get my feeling. So this is a tough one. So
it's a little bit tough, and I also think the idea of a goal value is that you have some sort of real value that you could back into the goal value, and that's why we have the value there. So when somebody subscribes in the first place, there is some inherent value of them, right? It's part of an average that later on X% of people actually purchase or convert offline. So by them signing up, there is value. And when they unsubscribe, it's not that you're negative value, it's just those people will no longer provide increased value, right?
Yes.
So it's almost like you really don't want to make it negative. You want to keep it positive, and as Avinash said, track it separately.
Yeah.
Great.
And we've got a question from Art in Central Florida. Hi, Art.
Hey.
And it's for you, Nick. And it says, I'd like to measure ROI from all social media channels in addition to using campaign tagged links. Well done, Art. Definitely do that. Is there any other reason not to filter referrals from social channels and rewrite their medium as social? Can you think of a better way to handle this? Interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's a lot of ways to set up to track different social media. I think the easiest one is kind of what we were working on with you a little bit is you could just say, create a new segment.
Exactly.
And you can say, if this referral came from anything that had the word Twitter in it, it most likely will come from twitter.com and one of the different links. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with all YouTube, other social networking sites. So I would use segments to find those different groups of people. Even if you can't tag them, we'll have the referral, and that way you can group those individuals separately from the rest.
Exactly. There's sort of two bits of things that are going on. There are all the referrals are going to come from social channels, anything from Vimeo and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Preposterous, and I don't know, there are tons of these.
Yeah.
So tons of these going on, and you'll get all these referrals that may be done by other people, not by you. I mean, other people linking back to you. And then, of course, there are tweets, posts, walls, and likes, and other things that you are doing, which you're able to campaign tag. So you do want to track those separately. All the ones that you are tracking, let's say all the nicks, that are all your campaigns, you will track them a bit separately than, say, from all the Avinashes, which are other people linking to you. And rewriting your campaign parameters or filtering them into one particular group or another actually will hinder your analysis rather than assist it. But using advanced segmentation, of course, what you can do is create an advanced segment, use the referring site or the campaign parameters, create the group, and now you've got this nice clean thing without monkeying with your core basic data that's stored in Google Analytics. You've created an ability now to go back and apply to any of the report that you like, goals and conversions and pages and e-commerce, everything, you've got it there already. And that's probably the best way to deal with this. And in case you screw something up one way or the other, your base data is still nice and clean waiting for you. So we wouldn't advise you to do that. Use custom segments, advanced segmentation for that. And the other thing, Nick, you had suggested was a very good idea as well, is create alerts. Use custom alerts in Google Analytics, and I just finished writing a post on custom alerts. We'll link to that one. How do you create alerts? But create alerts so that if you see increases in traffic coming to social media, high conversions, whatever, boom, it'll proactively, Google Analytics proactively let you know that here's something that you need to pay attention to. So that's a good idea.
Great, we'll link to that. Sounds good. Okay, great. So question for you, Avinash. This is from Tyler and Raleigh. What options other than paid search are available for a content site to refine what people find on the site and to reduce the number of bad keywords that lead people to the site looking for content we don't provide?
Yeah, no, it's a great question from Tyler. I think that a lot of times we're very happy when we have more and more keywords bringing traffic to our website. But you know, if you've got a website about tires and a lot of people, you're getting a lot of traffic on the keyword underwear, you actually don't want that traffic.
It's kind of,
I mean, it's actually going to increase your bounce rate, lower your conversion rates. It's just not traffic that you are particularly interested in. So I applaud you on focusing on sort of focusing the keyword lists that are bringing traffic to your website. I think that's a great quest that you have. A couple different ways that you could look for this data. Of course, the organic search reports are a great place. Nick and I are also very fond of the internal site search reports because they'll tell you what people are searching for once they come to your website. It's a wealth of data in the internal site search reports. And of course, we also have other interesting ways to know quote-unquote bad keywords or quote-unquote bad things might be happening on your website by using on-exit surveys like 4Q by iPerceptions, and we'll link to that as well in our blog post. But 4Q has just released, I think Nick wrote about this already, but they've just released an integration between Google Analytics and your 4Q data. So your what and the why data now is actually all sitting in one place within Google Analytics.
Right.
All your survey data is sitting in there. So that also helps you understand sort of bad performance and the reasons for bad performance. So we'll link to that. Those are some of the ways in which you can do it. And the other thing I also want to share is that a tool like Webmaster Tools from Google, go claim your website on Webmaster Tools. That also helps you understand the impressions and what keywords your website is showing up for and which one it gets clicked. And then go back and change your SEO strategy. The thing that you want to do is go back and change your SEO strategy and find out what are the pieces of content where these quote-unquote bad keywords are bringing people. What content have you written? What words have you written? What are the meta tags look like? What is the title structure and the URL structure look like that might be actually getting your website to be indexed for these bad keywords? And once you start to sculpt that a little bit, you'll find that the bad ones go away. Your traffic becomes more focused. The keywords referring become more focused. So hopefully that'll help you get going on it. We've got a couple questions for you now, Nick. These are amazing ones. We've got Mark from Bethlehem in Pennsylvania.
Hi, Mark.
And Mark is asking, when creating a custom report, the report is always sorted by the first measure in the custom report. Is there a way that this can be changed to sort by the dimension or any other value? In particular, I would like a custom report sorted by date. That's an interesting question.
That's a great question. Yeah. So I think the question, there's two parts to it. The first one is when you create a brand new custom report, by default we'll always sort the first column. But you can click on any of the other columns to sort by ascending or descending order. So it's possible. It's just one more click. I think the other question then is, can we actually sort by date? And we actually have a dimension called date, week, month, year. You could add those to your custom reports to get more interesting trending reports. For example, show me all the keywords for day 1 versus day 2 versus day 3. Use those new dimensions and you'll get a lot farther with your reporting.
That's great. So we've got one more question here for you in the next one. And it says, it's a question about forms from Harvey in Bournemouth in the UK. And it says, I know that Web Trends, for example, allows success or failure of individual form fields to be measured to debug non-intuitive fields. can this be done with Google Analytics in any way beyond recording the values that are entered? So this is a bit of a complex question, and I wonder, Nick, if you could clarify it for all our listeners, and provide perhaps a couple suggestions for Harvey how to accomplish this analysis connected to forms.
No, absolutely. And I think so with forms, it can be very complicated, but we'll keep it very simple here. When you go to a site that has a form, they ask you to input certain fields. Some of the fields, if you input them, like if they ask for a phone number and you type text, that field is wrong, and the form will throw an error and say, hey,
I see.
You messed up. You know, the syntax of our it's preventing people from going forward for something as simple as putting their phone number. And so you typically want to improve your form, and when you make it easier for people to input, more people will get through. To track that is actually very simple to do in analytics. We have a feature called event tracking, which allows you to track different interactions with your site. And in your form, there's a JavaScript code that actually validates to make sure that the value that users submit is actually valid. In that code is where you would track an event, and you would say, for this form field, here's the name of the form, here's the field name, this is the number of times that was correct or incorrect. And in applying this report, analyzing it, you can say, well, for this phone number, we're actually getting a lot of people who are not inputting it properly. They're having to go back. Let's go back to our designers, have them improve that experience, and get more people to check out.
I see. So maybe put an example underneath the field, in case it's the phone number, and you need to type the parentheses, and sometimes I don't know, or you don't expect people to just type all the numbers and no dashes.
No dashes, exactly.
Or even I've sometimes seen in the field itself they have this like shaded way in which you're supposed to do it. So using event tracking is a great way to do that.
Yep.
And we'll link to an article. We've got a really excellent tracking guide on event tracking, I think, starter guide.
Yeah.
So we'll link to that.
Great. So question for you, Avinash, here. This is again from Harvey. 2 questions. So there are some issues in my navigation summaries whereby exit rate is 0% from every page.
Isn't that a good thing?
Right. Oh yeah. Once they come to your site, they don't go anywhere. They don't leave. They don't go for dinner. They're on your site. Okay. So it's been like this for a while. So there's a lot of these people who are not leaving. What are the possible causes? Also, page refreshes seem untrackable. What about those? On form pages, they're very insightful.
Okay, so there's too many things going on here. Let me answer the first one, which is the most important part of this question, and that is connected to the navigation summary. And actually, so just to clarify, what Harvey's saying is that once you drill down all the way in the content report to a particular URL or a particular page on your website, you get a summary report, and then if you on the right hand side on the middle of the page there's a drop down, you can pick navigation summary. It tells you where all the people came to this page from and where did they go next. And the very first one in that navigation summary report is an exit, so which is how many people left from this page. So it's actually a very good report that not a lot of people use, so it's a useful report. What Harvey, although, is describing is that in that particular navigation summary report, that first one on the right-hand side is showing exit rate is 0 for all the pages on the site. And as you might guess, it's not possible. They've got to leave the site from some place.
Somebody has to go to the bathroom. They have to go to have dinner.
People do exit from your site. So at the moment, Harvey, what you're seeing is a bug in Google Analytics that is causing that to show up as 0 in that specific report. So the team's working really hard on fixing that, and so that should go in very, very quickly. But in your case, Harvey, the data is actually available. If you just hit your back button in your report, you'll be back to the overall content summary report. And the 4th metric down is actually exit rate from the page. And that number is accurate, and Nick and I just went through and validated that. It's just that when you then, from the content summary report, you move to the navigation summary report, which is after that one, that number is at the moment there's a bug affecting it, and they'll fix that. But meanwhile, just go back one screen and you'll see the metric available there accurately. So for now, please use that while the team's fixing the problem. So the next one's for you, Nick.
Okay.
And it says, I'm looking to fully filter out landing pages. What? Oh, this is from our friend Mika in Fremont, 10 miles away. Anyway, I don't know.
Filtering out sample, yeah, read it.
Okay, so we want to filter out all the landing page data in order to avoid sampling.
Okay.
Interesting. I can report filter and segment filter, and I was wondering if landing page profile filter is possible. I know about subdirectories, but this doesn't cover multiple subdomains. My head is hurting. Mika is a advanced, super advanced, super user, I think. All right. What's the problem here,
All right,
Nick?
yeah.
And what's the solution here?
Yeah. So I think the problem is that he's hitting what we call sampling.
I see.
And so what happens is when we do sampling, that only happens when you're doing a segment. And we have to go recompute a lot of data.
It's just a wide span of data.
It's a lot of data, and we have to return that data fast. So we can't recompute all the data for all time. We do it for a set, and we sample.
Yes.
Right? And so that data is already processed. So there, even if you had a filter for landing page path or whatever, that sampling only happens at the session level. So even if you were able to filter out your landing pages, it still won't affect the total number of sessions we have to reprocess, and so it's actually not going to solve anything there. So in that case, the best way to get around that is potentially setting up different profile filters, so that way you're only collecting a subset of data, so you have less overall sessions that you can get more samples for. And that's something, a little bit more advanced customization about how to set up profile filters. We've talked about them,
right.
But in this case, we're using them so that way we have less data, so that way we can get a less sampling on that data.
But also, I think when I've tried to solve this problem often, Nick, I've just used our API. And it's in the sense that just take the data out, because if you got a need to process so much data and then apply these kinds of really unique customizations, like remove the landing pages and things like that, it's perhaps best to just take the data out of the API, put it in a data store that you already have, Mika, and then on top of that, you can apply any kinds of transformations or queries that you want to, and be able to solve this problem. So that's also a solution in this case.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. So another one for you, Nick, and this one's from Prika in Finland. Hello.
Hey.
And this is a good one. I'm tracking both my production website and my test website with the same Google Analytics code and script, and then separating it into different profiles with filters. And that's working great, except that this does not work for e-commerce data, and it's duplicated to all profiles. How should I fix this? So again, just the way the data is collected and processed. But I think the best practice, Nick, here is not to use the same code, is it?
No. So the idea here, and so the thing is, you'll have different environments: your test environment and in your production environment. And the way we do it at Google is we also have test and production. The way we do it is in our script, we dynamically insert different web property IDs based on if it's in production or in test. So that way, with that same code, we'll have two web properties, just a string, and dynamically insert that on all the pages. So that way we don't have to finagle with profile filters or anything. We set up that code once, and every time we do a new release, the code will be properly tracking for everybody. I recommend you guys do that as well.
Okay, I love this idea, because you don't have to do extra reprocessing and more profiles and all this.
Too much
garbage,
work.
You don't have to worry about it.
Do it once and it'll work for everybody.
Okay, is there a help article we could link to? Maybe we'll try to find one.
We'll try to find an article.
Yeah, this is a great idea, I think.
Great.
Another one, Nick, here's from Tyler in Raleigh again. And it says, is there a way to compare traffic across profiles? I have an IP filtered profile for each regional office. I want to compare office profiles to the default non-filtered profile to evaluate the amount of internal traffic. These kinds of complicated things, I think, is the same Mika answer here.
API, yeah. API. You can do whatever you want with the data. You can provide visualizations.
Yes.
I think in another episode we were talking about like 5-dimensional space and visualization. You can do a lot with the API. So use it, and it'll help you out.
Yeah. So Tyler, I think just go ahead and use the API. I think it's less painful, and you'll be able to do this a lot faster than otherwise possible.
Okay. Question for you, Avinash. This is again for Mika in Fremont. Is it possible for Google Analytics in the future to link up with Google Webmaster Tools, similar to Google AdWords link up for impressions and click-through?
Yeah, actually, it's a great question. Click-throughs you're already getting, because that's coming up as a referrer, whether from Google onto Google Analytics or Omniture, Web Translator, whatever tool you're using. The click-through is coming through. The impression actually is data that I love having in Webmaster Tools, and it's only available there. And essentially, you could compute click-through rate even for your organic listings, which is something you cannot do anywhere other than Webmaster Tools. So it's a great request. It's something I have desired for a long time that we have at Google, and we'll pass this back to the team, Mika, one more time and request them to work on this. It's a really good piece of data. I absolutely adore it. having click-through rate for organic search data would be so magnificent. But meanwhile, if our listeners have not claimed their accounts on Webmaster Tools, please do that. They've just done an upgraded release of Webmaster Tools not less than 1 month ago. There's even more data, 404 errors, all kinds of things. So while we are waiting for this, make sure you're in Webmaster Tools, you have an account, and analyzing the data. I think anybody who wants to call themselves an analysis ninja is also analyzing a Webmaster Tools account.
Cool, great question. So a question for you, Avinash. This is from Jen's Bits in New York. I'm pushing data into Google Analytics to track PDF downloads. It's working fine, but I was wondering, what is the best way to track them? So how do you track the PDF downloads?
Right, so this is a great question. And I'm doing this on my blog, of course, because I'm providing spreadsheets and other kinds of downloads on my blog. And I used to have, there are two ways of doing it. I used to use the old way, but the way that is standard now, and the way that I recommend that you do it, is to use event tracking. I think it's fabulous, scalable, wonderful way of collecting data. You have a nice hierarchy of things into which you can organize, downloads, social media downloads, and spreadsheets for that, and downloads, and something else, another hierarchy, and things like that. So use event tracking. That is the best practice that is available for you to capture this kind of data and then analyze it. And the other great thing about event tracking is the data is stored in a very unique way, which means that you don't have to worry about collecting fake data and other things. The only problem with having collecting this wonderful data connected to downloads with event tracking is that you're not able to set that as a goal. In case the thing you want to accomplish is to also track as a goal the fact that somebody downloaded a spreadsheet, a executable file, zip file of whatever, music, MP3, whatever. You can't track that as goals in the goals report in Google Analytics. And if you want to do that, the only way to do it is to fire off a fake page view. Essentially, and then we'll link to an article that shows you how to do that. So on my website, most downloads I do not want to track as goals. There's only one download I want to track as goals, in which case I fire off an event first. So I'm collecting the data event tracking, and additionally I follow the GAQ underscore, the syntax that we have for fake page views, and I fire off a page view and then have set that as a goal as well. Another best practice to follow when you do the fake page view methodology is that create a clean URL structure. So for me, it's a /goals/fake page views, and they're all sitting over there, which allows makes it very easy for me to ignore the data. And sometimes when I'm doing page views per session and things like that, computations, I can filter the data away. So event tracking is the standard. If you would like to track downloads as goals, use fake page views. Make sure you have a clean hierarchy for the fake page views so you can remove that data out of your computations when you feel that it's necessary. So those are best practices. We'll link to an article that shows you how to do that.
Fantastic.
We've got a question for you, Nick. Is there a reason why Google Analytics does not show the full referring URL? I see referring paths, but that doesn't keep the whole URL. So this is a good question. Well, what's our answer here, Nick?
Yeah, no, it adds a lot of additional data, and what we found is that when you add all this additional data, it sometimes makes it really hard. Like maybe you don't want all the data. So by default, we only include the path, not the domain and all the other stuff. But using profile filters, you can actually add that information back in there if you really want it. And some people do it. And we can link to an article. It's pretty simple to do. And for some people, we'll give you a lot more data, which will really help you out. And yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah, most of the time, most of our users, and myself included as well, but don't use the data at all.
Yeah, but
that's why we've made the choice more in the context of making it easier for people to process and look at the data. But if you want to do it, we'll link to the article.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Okay, question for you. This is again from Art. So Avinash, is there a way to save or share a custom report that has been filled out by an advanced segment? I'd like to share custom reports that with others that focus only on a specific segment and cut out all other noise. Your biggest fan, Art.
Thank you, Art. So it is possible in Google Analytics for you to create custom reports and share them with others or publish them on your blog. It is possible for you to create advanced segments and share them with others or publish them on your blog. So both of those things are possible. But the intersection is not possible, which is if you have created a custom report and then applied a segment on top of it, and then this is gorgeous, beautiful, perfect microcosm of data, but you can't share that view with other people, at least not at the moment. But what you can do is you can take a screenshot of it.
Sharing screenshots.
This is not a good answer, but you can.
It's an answer, and it works. I think it's great.
So Art, for now, unfortunately, you'll have to, you can share both the segment and the custom report with the person and give them very quick instructions on how, from the drop down, to apply the segment on your custom report. So, but we'll take this back to the team because it's a good use case, and you should be able to share a view of the data you're looking at. But at the moment, it's not possible.
Do you think it would be helpful if we included a link on how to take screenshots? I don't know. Okay. All right, another question for you. All right, so this is for Rachel from Boston. I want to identify keywords from mobile devices I should add to my PPC campaigns. More than 80% of my mobile devices visits through keyword dimension in mobile reports and mobile advanced segments appear as not set. Is this common? If so, how do I fix it?
This is a good question, Rachel. And the interesting thing is it threw me for a loop for a few minutes because I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? So the problem is that you're looking at the wrong report. There's nothing wrong with your data. What Rachel is actually doing is under the visitor section, clicking on mobile. There are two reports, there are devices and carriers. So you're able to see how many people come from the Nexus One or the iPad and things like that. And in that report, she's using the drill down, segmentation drill down to choose keyword. So Rachel, you're in the context of looking at all your mobile data. And in that, you're looking at all the devices or carriers. And then you're saying, show me the keywords, but you're still in the system report essentially. And what the not set row is showing, it's accurate data, by the way, very quickly, let me say that, it's accurate data. But what it is, in that context, what it is suggesting is, those many people came to your website not from search engines. Essentially, that's what it is saying. So I just looked at this data for my blog, and the not set, the first row not set, is 1,016 for me, which is saying there were 1,016 mobile visits to my website that did not come from search engines. That's the not set. And then underneath it are all the keywords. So the second keyword that is there, the second row of data is the keyword Avinash Kaushik, and it was 69 visits. So what it's saying is, after the 1,000 visits, the next 49 visits were from the keyword Avinash, and then you can see that. The report you actually want to look at, Rachel, is you want to go down to your traffic part of Google Analytics. You want to click on keywords, and now what you're looking at is all people who came only from search engines and the keywords that they used. Go back up top, and in the segments, click on the segment called mobile visits. And when you choose the mobile visits, and you can uncheck the all visits if you want, and you look at the table, then that will not show you not set. Because what in that context, you're only looking at visits from search engines, and you'll see all the keywords that are sending you that are bringing visits to your website from all search engines. And now when you drill down to Bing or Yahoo or whatever you end up doing, you pivot the data, stretch it out, you're now looking at all the search data from mobile visits. So it's very important for users in our video or our TV show today to realize that it's very important that you think of mobile as a segment of traffic that comes to your website, and not go down the wrong path of going to the visits report of mobile devices and then doing segmentation, because then you're looking at all visits and it's all this confusion with not set. You want to know what the conversion rates are for people who come from mobile devices? Go to the goals report, choose the segment mobile devices, apply, boom, there you are. E-commerce, choose the mobile segment, apply. But go to the report for the data that you're interested in, choose the mobile segment, apply it, and that's really the best practice for you to do analysis for mobile visits. So in this case, everything is fine, Rachel. Don't worry about it. All the data is being captured correctly.
Great.
Here's one for you, Nick, and this is from Isaac624 USA. USA.
All right.
And it says, Google Analytics allows the creation of more custom variables thanks to page tracker _set max custom variable parentheses n semicolon. When will it be possible to segment more than the first 5 slots of custom variables either in the API or GA application. Clearly, Isaac is on the bleeding edge of using our platform.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So this method is not documented anywhere.
Oh,
so we know,
undocumented.
Undocumented.
Should we call it a hack?
A hack. It's not necessarily a hack, and the reason why this doesn't work is because
it's an exploit.
It's an exploit. The problem is, so there's this method that we don't document that you could change the number of custom variables. The only problem with that method is it's actually not tied to the back-end processing. There's no reports that get generated.
That's what happens when you do undocumented things.
You can't query against it because there's no reports. So it's in the tracking, but it's not in the back-end, which is a problem. But it's a great feature request, and I think we've heard that from a lot of people. So we'll take it back to the product team and tell them more people want additional advanced segments.
And then sometimes I think, Isaac, we end up having more things possible in the platform, just with an eye to the future in how we'll enhance, and we create these things in our platform. But this is not ready for prime time. We're just not ready to have it all rolled out. It's a pre-alpha stage, if you will. But it shows you how we think about our architecture, and how, as we build out these things, we have our eyes looking very far out to what's going to be out there. This is one of those things, so just be patient, and you'll be able to do set max custom variable parentheses and semicolon, page tracker _ dot.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and you should use async too, not just page.
Oh, yes. Love async.
All right.
Oh, actually, hang on. If you're not using the Google Analytics async code, crime against humanity. Crime against humanity.
Babies are dying. People are going hungry. Use async and save the world.
Now, all kidding aside, I have seen a great improvement in the quality of the data collected on my blog since I switched to async. It is, and also the speed of page loading increases significantly. So the async code goes in your head. It's a really efficient, wonderful way. We've seen improvements documented by others outside Google of 25 to 30% improvements. So please consider switching to async code. Also, we're releasing lots of features that will work only with async. So it's a good idea when you have time. Your current capturing methodology is not going anywhere anytime soon, but moving to async will get you ready for the future a lot better. So please consider upgrading. This is a good point, though.
Good point. Question for you. This is from Lisa C. in Melbourne. How's it going? Hi, Avinash and Nick. Hello. Is there a way in GA to create a trend report of the top landing pages getting traffic from SEO? I'd like to look at which pages are increasing or losing SEO traffic. Can you help?
This is not a good episode because
we don't have a solution.
Exactly. And this one, like the one from Mika of Webmaster Tools, I want this in Google Analytics. I really do, because I actually a very reasonable request, especially when I think about dimensions like campaigns and keywords and landing pages and products sold under e-commerce sections. I think there are so many dimensions that I want to trend over time. At the moment, what you can definitely do in Google Analytics, you can drill down to that one particular value and look at a trend over time. All through history, week, day, month, and you can do that. But a collection of values in a dimension is the thing that is the thing that Lisa's referring to. This is a great request, Lisa. I think it's a great idea, and we should have it. Meanwhile, though, this is one of those things that you can easily do using the Google Analytics API. And I'm going to surprise Nick by saying I want Nick to write a little article and create the technical code that is required that will enable Lisa to do this. So Nick, you up for the challenge?
I guess. Yeah.
This is a really good
one. A lot of work to do, but
so Nick is going to write something for Lisa, and Lisa, you can send him an email and thank him for doing that for you. But this is a good one. I think lots and lots of people will find it to be of value. So thank you for volunteering to do this,
wow.
Nick.
All right. We'll start engineering that. All right. Well, another question. Hopefully, I don't get more work. Can Google Analytics help with interactive TV advertising data? We have much raw data that we are analyzing from Excel. Thought Google might have a better way. So this is from Jonathan, New York City, TV tracking.
So it's kind of difficult to understand, Jonathan. What is it that you want to track with interactive TV advertising? But if the interactivity is enabled using web elements, on the TV platform, then of course platforms like event tracking and custom variables can capture data connected to clicks with interactive things that are on TV if they're rendered through web elements. I would encourage you to explore those. In general, if you want to track the impact of television advertising on your website, I'm going to send Nick a link to a blog post I have written of a collection of 6 different ways, it might be 8 different ways, in which you can track the online impact of offline advertising. And it has a series of methodologies that you can use in order to solve your problem here, in case the first recommendation was not a choice. So we'll link to that, Nick, and that's a great way for you to track what is the impact on your website from things you're doing in terms of billboard ads, television, radio, magazines, and catalogs, and all kinds of things that you're doing in terms of offline advertising.
Cool. So
we're done. So that was great. We're ending on a high note of television. So thank you all so much for your wonderful questions. Please go to the new moderator link that we have in this blog post and submit your questions about Google Analytics, about web analytics, or any digital challenge you have for us, and we'll do our best to answer it. And if you don't have a question, please go to the moderator page and vote for the questions you want us to answer, because we go do this by your choice. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Feel free to tweet it and like it and do other things around it so more people see these questions and answers and truly become analysis ninjas. So thanks very much.